President William Ruto on Wednesday announced that China has agreed to lift all tariffs on key Kenya agricultural exports, including tea, coffee, and avocados, a major trade milestone, even as Nairobi's dalliance with Beijing continues to steer tensions with the United States. Ruto told a presidential private sector roundtable in Nairobi that a high-level agreement had been concluded with Chinese authorities following sustained bilateral discussions. And the agreement is poised to boost Kenya's export volumes to the world's second largest economy, which already supplies over 600 billion worth of goods to Kenya annually. Now, Ruto acknowledged that the growing economic relationship with China has caused unease among some of Kenya's traditional allies, including the United States, especially given Nairobi's designation as a major non-North Atlantic Treaty Organization ally last year. Now, already, U.S. Senator James Risch has proposed an amendment to National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2026, which seeks to review Kenya's designation for its foreign and diplomatic policies, such as its alignment with major U.S. adversaries like China, Russia, and Iran. Here are the full details to the story.
Some of our friends are complaining that we are doing too much trade with China. Honestly, I mean, when I sat with President Xi, I had a very candid conversation. And I told him that Kenya is importing 600 billion of products from China. Yet we are only exporting 5%, according to Lee. That trade imbalance is serious. They have agreed to a reciprocal arrangement between Kenya and China. They have agreed to remove all the tariffs on our tea, on our coffee, on our avocado, and all other agricultural exports. We are progressing conversations with India. We haven't quite had a breakthrough with India. We haven't quite, we are very good with where we are with Turkey and Canada.
And away from that now to Uhuru meetings spark speculations over Jubilee's 2027 election plans. And retired President Uhuru Kenyatta has in recent days resurfaced in public, triggering political conversations. In what appears to be the clearest indication yet that he will be a key factor in the 2027 general election, Kenyatta on Tuesday called for a special national delegates convention of the Jubilee Party to discuss, among other things, the party's direction in preparation for the 2027 polls. This move, coupled with several others in the recent past, has placed the Jubilee Party leader under sharp focus 3 years after leaving office, raising speculation about his increasingly busy political calendar. And despite retiring from the presidency about 3 years ago, the retired president's political shadow continues to loom large. His rare but occasional appearances have sparked speculation within political circles in the country. And just a day after holding a crucial National Executive Committee meeting of the Jubilee Party at the party's headquarters, the Jubilee Party leader has called for a special national dialogue convention later in the month. In a notice issued to all the members, Kenyatta gave a 21-day notice for a special national delegates convention to be held at the Jockey Club, Nairobi, Kenya. Here are the full details to the story. From that now to Gachagua backs U.S. probe accuses Ruto of aiding terrorists. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says he supports the United States probe of Kenya's non-NATO ally status. Speaking during a media roundtable engagement in his United States of America tour in Kansas, the Democracy for the Citizens Party leader said there is a legitimate need for the United States to investigate police brutality, abductions, torture, and murder under President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza regime, as well as the president's association with terrorist organizations in the region. Here is Mr. Gachagua speaking in Kansas City.
And I'm very excited that yesterday in the Senate, the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee tabled a motion for the American legislative arm to review the status of Kenya as a non-NATO ally because of violation of human rights, because of abductions, extrajudicial killings. I want to appeal to the people of Kenya living here and working here in the United States to take time to lobby their senators and their congressmen so that they can know exactly what is happening in Kenya, so that when this particular motion comes up for discussion, there is support from the senators here in the United States, because Kenyans here are quite informed as to what is going on back home. I want to appeal to the people of Kenya living here and working here in the United States to take time to lobby their senators and their congressmen so that they can know exactly what is happening in Kenya, so that when this particular motion comes up for discussion, there is support from the senators here in the United States, because Kenyans here are quite informed as to what is going on back home. And let me tell officers commanding police stations, officers commanding police divisions, all the atrocities against the people of Kenya that are being committed within your jurisdiction, you will have to answer it one day.
Away from that now to IEBC. Boss dismisses rigging fears ahead of 2027 polls. IEBC chairperson Erastus Ethekon has announced that the 2027 elections will be free and fair amidst statements from President William Ruto's allies that he will be voted back for a second time by all means necessary. Ethekon, in a breakfast meeting with media stakeholders, said the commission is independent and will not act on any orders contrary to the Constitution. The IEBC chairman, who acknowledged receiving concerns over early campaigns, says they are engaging with the Attorney General in drafting a new law to help in dealing with the early campaigns. Here are the full details to the story.
Going for 2027, I personally don't think they'll be stealing our votes. It's almost an impossibility. But if there are loopholes, please bring those point outs to us so that we can seal the loopholes if there are any. So we are open to that. Our elections are highly regulated by law. Every step, we have a vibrant media to check. When we've said check every step, that's the best way we can do.
Access to accurate information at every stage of the electoral process is vital for building and sustaining public confidence. This is why the Commission is committed to working with the media.
We are concerned by the growing wave of political intolerance. Political rallies are being disrupted by hired goons. Hate speech and inflammatory remarks are being normalized. Few perpetrators are held accountable. This climate threatens not only democracy, but also journalists' safety.
President William Ruto hails Hustler Fund as key economic tool after disbursing over 72 billion Kenyan shillings to Kenyans. Now, President William Ruto has revealed that the Hustler Fund has disbursed more than 72 billion to over 26 million Kenyans in under 3 years since its launch, making it one of the most impactful financial inclusion programs in the country's history. Speaking on Wednesday, August 6th, during Presidential Private Sector Roundtable in Nairobi, Ruto praised the initiative as a transformative tool that has helped millions of ordinary citizens, especially small traders and informal workers, access credit and grow their businesses. Here are the full details to the story.
In just under 3 years, it has disbursed over 72 billion to 26 million Kenyans, mobilized over Kenya shillings 5 billion in savings, and provided vital working capital to millions of micro entrepreneurs, proving that even the smallest businesses can thrive with the right support. Those same critics are spreading fear and despondency by falsely claiming that the fund has a 60% default rate. That is a deliberate distortion of facts. The truth, backed by data, is that the Hustler Fund has a recovery rate of 83.3%. I want to persuade my good friends, the people who talk from Nairobi. They talk to us from posh hotels. They have money from this NGO and that NGO and the other one. Please, there are Kenyans who today have a mechanism for them to borrow money.
Stories that are making headlines in the dailies, and we start off with the Standard. Blue-eyed no more is a headlining story in the Standard. Once hailed as Washington's golden boy in Africa, President William Ruto now faces a dramatic fall from grace. A U.S. Senate amendment is calling for a full-scale reassessment of Kenya's privileged status as a major non-NATO ally. Now, the same United States that rolled out the red carpet for Ruto in a rare state visit just over a year ago now accuses Nairobi of betraying its commitments to democracy, human rights, and regional stability from a celebrated partner to a potential pariah. Kenya's geopolitical loyalties are under the microscope. This is a story that is being covered extensively on the Standard, pages 4, 5, and 6. And pictured there is President William Ruto sitting in the State House with former President of the United States, Joe Biden. And of course, the President is pictured in the Standard as well, on the front page. Among other stories that are making headlines, EACC survey, KRA among most corrupt institutions. Now, you are not likely to access Kenya Revenue Authority services without paying a bribe. Now, according to a new report, the latest finding by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission released on Tuesday ranked KRA officers second most corrupt among professional groups at 17.3%. That is on page 17 of the Standard this morning. Those are among the stories in the Standard. Out from the Standard now to the Daily Nation. Ruto answers the United States. That is the headlining story in the Standard, as in the Nation as well. A fight back a day after public disclosure of a push for President Donald Trump's administration to investigate Kenya's ties with rivals of the United States. President Ruto has defended the country's bond to China, citing trade benefits, but he did not address other grievances, questions like links to Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces and abductions that will be subject of the inquiry if sanctioned by Congress. That is a story that you'll find on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Storm over Uhuru, party stand on Raila. Storm over Uhuru, party stand on Raila. Now, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party has ignited a political row after suggesting a conditional endorsement of ODM leader Raila Odinga for the 2027 presidential contest. Jubilee Party Vice Chairman Dan David Morathe said the former ruling outfit might back Mr. Odinga's presidential bid, but only if he severs ties with President William Ruto, Kenya Kwanza administration. Now, the statement has infuriated opposition leaders scrambling to pick a joint flag bearer in a crowded field. That is a story that you'll find on page 7 of the Daily Nation this morning. And of course, winners pause at music festival. It is covered in the Nation this morning, and among other stories include Shah abandons baby in India after life-saving heart surgery. That is on page 3 of the Nation. Quite harrowing indeed. And sacked judge Chitembwe now accused of forging judgment. That is on page 8 of the Daily Nation this morning. And that sums up the headlines in the Daily.